Okay, so I've been posting about Ghana and I wanted to get on here and give a quick reflection, but I wanted to get through Slave River, Cape Coast Dungeon, and Elmina Dungeon because those were some heavy visits. Those were also the visits where I started to feel like this is the call to Ghana. These are the lessons. This is the history we need to know. We need to know who we came from, how horrific this was, and yet who our ancestors were, the survivors that made it possible for us to be here today. When they gave those statistics, both at Slave River and at, I think it was Cape Coast Dungeon, and said out of every 10, only 3 survived. Those 3 were the best of the best, and that's who you come from. I felt that. And it was one of those things where it's like, we know this information now, what do we do with it? People will try to limit who you are, what you're capable to. Some people have their feelings like, I don't want to learn about slavery, I don't want to do this, this, and this. But sometimes you need to know your history, know who you are, who you come from, what you have the capacity to do, and take all of that to reach your fullest potential now. So those were just some initial thoughts. Slave River, getting there, I've described it before, but we were a loud group on our bus. We got there and everyone just got quiet. We didn't know, a lot of us didn't, what we were going into, but you felt the presence there. You have an option of walking to the river with or without shoes. We elected to do it without shoes. They look at it as sacred ground. I don't know. You just gotta do it. You just have to do it. It's a very grounding experience, a very present experience, a very connecting experience. And then when we got to the river, they had us speak life into each other. And one of the things he talked about, and that's why I specifically used that clip, is like, these are the waters that our ancestors came to. These are the waters that they know. So when you come here, speak. Speak what you want for this person. Speak what you see in their life. And we hope our ancestors will hear it. Baby, power. And then the dungeons. The dungeons were horrific. And I'm one of those people, you know, I went to Howard University. I graduated from Howard University a long time ago. I'm an auntie. And I felt like I knew Black history. I had to take Intro to African History 1 and 2, Intro to African American History 1 and 2. I felt like every class at Howard was about Black history, except I felt math. But there was so much I did not know. And for all the horrors that we know about enslavement in America, the treatment there was beyond anything I could have imagined. We always hear about the slave, like the ships and how they were stacked on top of each other, but they were already being stacked in those dungeons. And for me, one of the hardest parts that I'm still dealing with was the role of religion and Christianity. There were actual dungeons there were actual churches at these dungeons, on top of the enslaved Africans, where they're playing their music, where they're playing their sermons, where they're going to praise a God that doesn't reflect the actions that they were taking. The other thing that stood out to me is that I'm a beach person. I love being by water. And I've always said, like, you know, when I'm at the beach, when I'm outside, that's why I love walking outside. It's like, that's where I feel God the most. And so learning both in Cuba and in Ghana, our ancestral connection to being in nature and God, and how that was taken away from us. And we hear the stories of like how Africans were also connected to, they were connected to other Africans being sold into enslavement. We have to acknowledge that. One, what enslavement ended up being was not like anything they had ever seen. 2, we learned that the Europeans came in with gunpowder. This was not something that the Africans had. And so this is going to get long, but essentially what would happen is, like, let's say my village is fighting your village and I win. Your village now has to come work for me. Y'all are part of us. You're working alongside us. So I don't know if they quote unquote owned them or if they were a part of them, but it's sort of like you with us now, but in your mind, you probably like, but we ain't really with y'all, rocking with y'all for real, because y'all took over us. But whatever, that's how it was, right? Europeans came in and they infiltrated. Now, they had to have people helping them learn the language and translate to infiltrate. So we're already starting there. But they infiltrate. They came in like, yo, Nicole, I know them people down with you right now, but for real, they ain't rocking with you like that. And at any moment, they can turn on you. But I got these guns. I got this powder. Like, so if they try anything, y'all straight. And you don't want to trust them. And if you're going to give up somebody, give them up. So that was one way that it occurred. I know there are lots of ways that it happened, but everyone's hands were dirty. But what I would say about the Europeans is, imagine someone coming to your house and saying, the way you living not right, you're a savage, you uncivilized, your house ain't clean according to my way. Oh, that God, the way you serving God, that ain't how you supposed to serve him. You supposed to serve this God in this way, and this is now what you believe. That language you speaking at home, nah, don't speak that no more. Every time you speak it, I'm gonna hit you. I want you to use our words. They tried to, like, that's what they did. And in some ways, all right, y'all, don't get me for this. It is a part of the survival of Black people, right? Like that we take, or we in the past have taken what they barely gave us or the conditions we were in, and we made it our own. We made it the thing that helped us to survive. We made it the thing that gave us hope. But in so many ways, Black people have become, like, we have taken on their God, their beliefs, their ways, and made it our own, and then frown our nose against people who do more holistic, ancestral ways of being. And you have to ask yourself, who told you to love this God in this way? So then who are you to judge when someone is doing it away? I don't know. I got to still figure that part out. But I know I was meant to be on this trip. This trip has changed my life. It has changed my way of thinking. It has changed where I see myself going in my career and the things that where I want to make an impact. And it gets lighter from here. So now I'm going to just post like the fun things we did, the food we ate, getting stuck on the Volta River. You got to stay tuned.